as Chile has emerged as the world's leading exporter of fresh cherries, accounting for over 50% of global cherry exports.
I will say that we are focused on three things, on the three.
Beyond this growth, what is the current strategic importance of the Indian market to Chile's overall export portfolio? Good morning, Mr. Marambio. Welcome to the Blue Moon's Fresh Fruit series, where fruit is not only commerce, it is culture, diplomacy, and a vision for tomorrow. Today, we are honored to host Mr. Ivan Marambio, the president of Frutas de Chile, a leader whose vision has positioned Chile as a global ambassador of cherries, apples, kiwis, and beyond. Mr. Marambio, it is a privilege to welcome you. Your leadership has not only advanced Chile's horticulture excellence but has also elevated fruit as a symbol of trust and hospitality worldwide. Because I
Okay,
believe every fruit carries a story and every story carries a bridge.
thank you very much for the welcoming.
Mr. Marambi, I would like to begin with Chile's global fruit identity. As Chile has emerged as the world's leading exporter of fresh cherries, accounting for over 50% of global cherry exports, what foundational strategies, whether in technology, supply chain, logistics, or market development, have enabled Chile to achieve and sustain this leadership?
I will say that we are focused on three things, on the three cornerstones. The first one is the product itself, with the with an excellent quality. That is the most important thing of everything, because it is the experience of consumption that creates value. Secondly, we have our logistics. Uh, in that regard, maybe the best or the most important example is about the way that we shorten the transit time. In the past, we were taking more than 30 days in order to get to Asia by sea. But nowadays, with the commonly known Cherry Express,
Yeah.
the transit time is no more than 22 days. So that
But it
is a very
hasn't,
important.
I'm sorry, Mr. Marambio, but this Cherry Express hasn't started for India as yet. It's for China only, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that is correct so far. But in the last two seasons, we we had we have had two or three vessels for season that
Mm-hmm.
that are Cherry Express going to China, with one stop in Hong Kong on mainland China, and after that to India without any other stops. The problem in the past, on the normal way to get to India is going the same road but stopping several times,
Mm-hmm.
which accounts for more than, I don't know, 20 days over the 21 that you take to get to China. So we are starting to get there in order to use the Cherry Express to get our cherries and to the rest of Asia. That is the second uh, pillar. The third one is the promotion. The cherry business is based on promotion, in a very well financed promotion. If I have to take worldwide examples of successful promotions, you have in first place the New Zealand kiwis. Maybe in
Mm.
second place the avocados from Mexico, and the third place is the cherries from Chile, which accounts for, I don't know, maybe the biggest promotion in the southern hemisphere after New Zealand. So those are my biggest points. The product itself, It's excellent quality. The logistics with the transit time shortened with a short transit time, and the third one, the promotion.
It's quite clarity you have given, Mr. Marvio. In this, I would like to add the second part. How does the cherry sector exemplify the broader strength of Chilean horticulture?
I will say that we are in the case of Chile, our fruit industry is very mature, and we the entrepreneurs that are doing the business today, they have been doing the same thing for generations. So the link between the current owners with the land is very deep. That is the thing, the first thing, that we have a real connection with the land, and that is different from another origin. For example, in the case of Peru, which is our biggest competitor nowadays, they are another kind of entrepreneurs. They are in the mining or in the fishery, and they started a few years ago with the fruit industry, a very successful way. But they have not the same link. That in that case, we believe that is a very good thing in order to provide the best fruit in the world. That is one thing. The other thing is that we are industry that are all the time innovating things. If you think in the past, in the beginning of our fruit industry, our main products were apples, pears, and grapes.
Yeah.
In the 80s, we started with kiwifruit. In the 90s, with blueberries, and in the 2000s, with the cherries. So we are talking about cherries so most of the time, but in fact, this is a new fruit for us. If you think in when the success of the cherry started, you need to go just 5 or 6 years ago, no more than that.
So I would like to say that here, that leadership in cherries has set the stage, because people know the Chile because of cherry first. So, but India is becoming equally important in Chile's global journey, whether it's apple, kiwi, and other healthy fruits as well. It's a quite remarkable clarity you have given. Thank you for highlighting that how Chile blends innovation with tradition. So, Mr. Marambio, I would like to come on now the India-Chile trade quantum. Chile's fruit export to India have shown a significant expansion, with products like walnuts, kiwifruit, and cherries gaining traction. Beyond this growth, what is the current strategic importance of the Indian market to Chile's overall export portfolio? And the second I would like to add here, could you share your perspective on the way drivers behind its expansion and the concrete shared vision for deepening this partnership over the coming decade?
Yeah, I would say our main goal is to have India as our third axis. Our two axes today are the US and China, our biggest market, and we need to have India as one of them in the same level, and we are very far away because we are exporting more or less to China or to India 700,000 tons per season, and in the case of India, we are just in 50,000 tons. So we need to grow more than tenfold in order to be at the same level of the US and China, and have India as our third axis. That is one thing.
Yeah, sure. Carry on. I'll ask later.
Okay. In order to do that, we need to get better logistics, especially in two things. One is the transit time. Nowadays, we are in between 40 and 50 days. We need to shorten that to 30 and 40 days. So we need to lesser 10 days. So that is one thing. And the other thing is the cold chain. We need to work together with the Indian partners in order to have because our fruit, if you think in kiwi fruit on apples, which are the biggest fruit exported to India nowadays, they are not a weak fruit. They can handle the warmer temperature. But the problem with blueberries and cherries especially, we need a very good cold chain. So we need to work on that point. Also, we need to focus on promotion. We are doing promotions in India regarding kiwi fruit and cherries, but in a very small way. So we need to scale up those promotions, and in order to focus on the demand, on the consumer. We need to get to a point that the consumer is getting the best consumption experience.
Mr. Marambio, as you just mentioned in this answer, that your first two priorities are Chinese and China market and US market. Here I have two things, if you could clarify. Recently, US has made South America 0% duty. They have just announced on the tariffs that whatever they import from South America, they are going to impose 0% duty. So, are you considering that? And where does the European market stands in your fresh food industry?
In the case of Chile, because we are not producing tropical fruit, we are in the 10% tariff level, not zero.
With the US.
With the US,
Okay.
this new executive order launched by the Mr. Trump was targeted on tropical fruit, specifically with bananas and pineapples, mangoes, and also in some kind of in the middle of, you can say that they are not tropical fruit, but they are maybe one step lower. So those are kiwi fruit and avocados. They are also with zero tariff, and oranges. But in the main volume of our fruit, meaning citrus, meaning cherries, apples, grapes, blueberries, are targeted with 10% tariff. So you never know what is going to happen in the future, but so far the 10% tariff that they are applying over our fruit in the last 8 months, they have not hit us in a big way. So nowadays we are able to keep the same stable level of volume to the US market. You never know what is going to happen in the future, but so far the 10% has not have a big impact.
And what about the European markets? Does Chilean market export to European markets? If yes, then what percentage?
Yeah, in terms of our portfolio, we are a very diversified industry, having 30% more or less in big numbers, 30% to Asia, 30% to North America, 20% to Europe, and 20% to Latin America. That is the way that that our basket is.
It's really inspiring to see that your emphasis on India as a strategic partner and the percentage strategic partner in terms of the way you and your team going to work on logistic part to have more fresh produce from Chile to India. It shows really foresight and mutual respect. So
Yeah.
now we move to the other fresh produce. Chile is globally recognized for its cherries, but fruits like apples and kiwis have also gained strong traction in markets like India and the Middle East. How do you see the role of these fruits evolving in Chile's export strategy to Asia? I would like to add here, just now you have mentioned that apple, kiwi have started much before than cherry. Cherry is a new fruit. So, would you like to add something here?
Yeah, if you think in globally, our main markets are the second and the third biggest population in the world, the China and the US. So we need to grow in the first and fourth. The first biggest market is India, and the fourth is Indonesia. So that is a goal for us. It doesn't have any sense to have our biggest markets in the third and the second and the third biggest population countries, populated countries, and not having the same success in the first and the fourth. So our main focus is to grow, especially in India. And the second thing is Asia is. I want to talk beside the obvious thing, which is to grow in cherries. But in the case of Asia, Asia is very prone to apples, and we are having a new genetic in apples, and we expect to grow with apples in Asia, especially in India and the rest of Southeast Asia.
Marambio, diversification is essential, but so is overcoming barriers. So let's look at the hurdles in the Chile-India corridor, what we were talking in the beginning, to unlock the potential of the Chile-India fruit trade. What are the foremost operational barriers, be they high tariffs, logistical complexities, or sort of certificates kind of requirement that need to be addressed? Or what collaborative solutions, particularly in terms of government to government agreements and private sector initiative, are being pursued to overcome these hurdles?
Yeah, I would say that we have three barriers, being one of them a tariff barrier and the other non-tariff barriers. The first one is the tariff itself. If you think in our most popular fruit in India is are apples, and apples have a 50% tariff, which is a lot. In the case of the second most popular fruit, Chilean fruit in India is kiwifruit with a 33% tariff. So we need to go ahead with that kind of problems in order to reduce the tariff. That is one thing. The other thing is it is about logistics. It is our second barrier. It is a non-tariff barrier, and it is about the transit time too long and the cold chain. We need to improve the cold chain in India. And the third one is a little bit more technical. It is about the phytosanitary rules. In the case of the wool, in terms of chemical products application on the fruit, they are regulated by a rule called the codex. The rules that the codex set up are scientifically based. The problem is that India doesn't apply the codex, so they put a minimum residue higher than the codex. Lower than the codex. So it is very difficult to comply with it. and we need to we need to we need to go ahead also in that regard in order to have India applying the codex, because it is very difficult to do the farming in a normal way with that kind of rules. So I will say that those are our biggest concern. The way to work them is in the exact way that our public and private sector are working, and this is with the new CIPA, which is being negotiating between the two governments. This is very important because in regarding, for example, the tariffs, that is something that is going to be handled in the new CIPA. And the other two are a consequence of the first one. If we have less tariffs, we are going to increase our trade with India. If we have a bigger trade, we are going to have Indian entrepreneurs investing in improve the cold chain and the shipping lines, improving the service, the transit time. So we believe that the negotiations on the CIPA is going to be the key to open a new era for the trade between India and Chile to India.
I would say thank you. That's a really candid. Would you like to add something in that, the solutions on the hurdles?
No, I think that this is a two-side thing. You never know. You need to have volume in order to make the different stakeholders to really engage with the business that we are doing. If we don't have the volume, we are not going to have the things that we need to scale up our business. That is one thing. But what is one part? But in the other part, you have the promotions. So we need to start. We need to the promotions in our side. The improvements needed to improve the cold chain or the improve the transit time is something that the other stakeholders need to do. But the promotion, we can do the promotion, and we need to do it in a biggest way in order to seduce the Indian consumer to scale up the consumption, in that case to scale up the volume and the size of the market. And in that regard, that is another way to seduce the stakeholders to invest on improving the logistics.
That's really a candid and practical perspective, and it's invaluable for our audience to hear both challenges and solutions. So, Mr. Marambio, barriers remind us of the importance of trust. And trust today is built not only on taste but on transparency. So here we are going to talk on sustainability, ethical trade, and traceability are increasingly central to global agri-food systems. How is Fruta de Chile advancing these priorities as core strategic pillars across the value chain, and what specific measurable benchmarks or technological innovations are being implemented to ensure Chilean food meets the highest standards of environmental and social responsibility and can verify this to consumers?
Yeah, as you say, the sustainability is a new factor, and in that regard, we back in 2020, our trade association decided to put sustainability as a goal to 2030, with certain elements of sustainability, being water, being soil, being energy, as the most important factors. in that regard, under my presidency, we started the reporting these factors, this element in the first industry report of the fruit industry, and we launched that report back in 2024, at the end of 2024, and with a simple way to measure where we were. All right. So next step is to have the second report next year, and we are already working on the data in order to see, in comparison with the first report, where we are today regarding the same things, mostly the way that we use the water, the way that we treat the soil, and especially the way, what kind of energy we use. In the case of Chile, our industry, the most important, or maybe the biggest polluter, is the energy. And Chile is a champion in the way that we produce energy, because our non-conventional energies are the trend here. Mostly solar and wind. So we are working to show to the world that kind of new energies. That is one thing, and also the second is the way that we use water, and the use of water, mainly irrigation water. It is a very technical way to do it. And we use a lot of technical things in order to be very efficient with the water. But also, we are a champion in the world about desalination, the use of water coming from the sea. So we are trying to show to the world the things that we are doing, and the things that we do completely different with our main competitors. Totally different with Peru, totally different with Argentina, totally different with South Africa. In the case of Australia and New Zealand, they are in another level. They are competing with us in sustainability, but the other competitors, they are not. Something to have in mind is that the Chile brand it is based on one concept: sustainability. We are selling to the world that Chile is a sustainable country. And in that regard, the fruit industry is helping to show to the world the same concept, that our fruit is based on sustainability.
So, Mr. Marambio, this is I think it's going to be my headline on Chilean brand sustainability. And yes, trust builds relationships, and relationships also carry diplomacy. And from here, I can make out that what you just spoken about, the energy and how Chilean brand is coming out on the base of sustainability, it shows the Chile's commitment to responsibility and consumer trust. So, as I was mentioning, that trust built relationship, and relationships also carry diplomacy. Fruit itself can be a cultural bridge. So, fruit has a long served as a symbol of hospitality, celebration, and cross-cultural exchange. In your view, how can Chilean fruit serve as a more deliberate tool of food diplomacy, fostering deeper cultural connections and mutual understanding between Chile and its global partners beyond more symbolism?
You know that it is very important to understand that the best way to do diplomacy with our food, for example, in general terms, is going beyond the transactional thing. We need to go further than the current state of the trade. We need to find something that get together the two countries. For example, in the case of the cherries, and not just in China, but cherries are related with the lunar New Year because of the red, because the round, and the time of the year that we are harvesting the cherries. So that is a very good example because you create a bond between the consumer and a product. In this case, the cherries. We need to do the same, for example, in a new market like India. What are we? What we see? We see, for example, a strong connection between Chile and India with the mountains. You have all the north part of India with the biggest mountain in the world, and you have, in the case of Chile, the same thing. The same thing.
Yeah.
The mountain range, the Andes, which are the biggest mountains in America. So that is one thing. And what is the concept? In order to go beyond the transaction, it is to have something that related the two countries. We are, in that regard, we are saying that we produce in the landscape. We are doing all in the landscape, in the beautiful landscape that Chile has. And for example, if you are thinking of mining, if you are thinking in farming, if you are thinking in wood, if you are thinking in fishery, in salmon, we are producing those products in the middle of the landscape, of the beautiful landscape that Chile has. And that is a very different than what is happening in other countries. If you think in other countries like Peru, again, they don't produce in the landscape. They produce in the desert. They don't have the ocean by the side. They don't have the mountain range in the other side. They don't have lakes. They don't have anything that is related with the landscape. For example, and I like to say this. It is a little bit silly, but it is the truth. If you think in our chickens, for example. If you think in one product that we sell to the world, we export chickens. If you think in chickens, our chickens have the most beautiful side or view in the world. If they look to the right, they see the ocean. If they look to the left, they see the mountain range with the snow-capped mountains. We produce in the landscape. That is the difference between Chile and our competitors. And what is the outcome to produce in the landscape? Because we care in the landscape. We are producing a product, taking care of the landscape, trying to and being very successful into keep those resources to the next generations.
That's true.
That is the difference between Chile and the rest of, I would say, and the rest of the countries in the southern hemisphere, except Australia and New Zealand, which are in another, as I said, in another level. But in the case of South America, we are another thing. We are in another level in comparison with the other competitors.
So, Mr. Marambio, is a wonderful. Your words remind us that fruit can carry diplomacy beyond commerce into culture and connection. As we are talking about diplomacy, which is also practiced through platforms, one of the most important in fruit industry is Fruit Attraction Madrid, where from USA, from South America, Europe, from Asia, and there are such other exhibitions also around the world. So one of this exhibition, I'm talking about Fruit Attraction Madrid, has become a pivotal platform for the global fruit industry. How does Chile's participation in this event advance the country's strategic objectives in Europe and beyond? What outcomes or partnership have emerged from recent editions? Because here I would like to add one more thing, Mr. Marambio. As you just mentioned that your priorities are China, US, then India, Indonesia. And when you are coming to Fruit Attraction, such kind of platform where mainly European partners are there. So where your 20% of fresh produce is going. So what is, can you shed some light on this question, please?
Yeah, you know that the fruit attraction Madrid is one example of the way that our industry, the fruit industry in the world, evolves, because this is
Yeah.
a new thing. And in fact, let me tell you this. In fact, in the last show back in the beginning of October, our 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 booth in our booth we had our record of attendance attendees. All we are doing all over the world different shows, and this one for the last 20 years. And this particular year, back in the beginning of October and the end of September, we had our records of attendees in our booth, all record ever. So Madrid is taking part of in our industry. It is our I will say that it is our uh, control tower, where we are seeing all is the Europe market, but at the same time all the world, because all the players are coming to Madrid, not just Europe guys, North America, Latin American, Asians, etc. So that is one thing. They all of them are coming, so it is our control tower. But is this control tower is the timing is perfect because it is at the start of our season. So we can project, we can program, we can plan, we can get together, etc. Third, we are taking advantage of Madrid in order to yearly an event with all our stakeholders. First year 2024, we launch our new brand Frutas de Chile. This year we do this event in the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium called Get Together with all of our stakeholders, as I said. So for us, Madrid is becoming the most important show during the year. In simple terms.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing this stories, and it shows how Chile leverages global stages with precision and launching your brand. With China accounting for the vast majority of Chilean cherry exports and other fruits, market diversification has become a strategic imperative. What deliberate steps and resource allocation is Chile taking to systematically cultivate demand in new markets such as India, Southeast Asia, or I would rather say Indonesia now, and the mid. So you are not going for Middle East at all, Mr. Marambio. And how do you strategically balance the need for diversification with the immense opportunity that the Chinese market still represent? Because in your talk, you didn't mention about the Middle East market. You categorize China, US, India, and Indonesia.
Yeah, we have a small portion of our fruit going to Middle East. You know that
Mhm.
it is interesting what is going on with Middle East, because we are exporting a small portion there, but they are coming to Chile buying big companies, the Middle Eastern. So we have another kind of trade with them. But beside that, I would like to say that the thing about diversification is a little bit tainted by the thing that is happening with the cherries, because you are all the people are saying, hey, you have 90% of the cherry export going to China, but that is one particular fruit. As I said at the beginning, our portfolio is 30% to Asia, 30% to North America, 20 and 20 to Europe and to Latin America. So we are very diversified. That is one thing. And what about the rest? The rest of the world are on the Asia markets and the regional of the of deepening China, and we are working both. We are working very hard in order to penetrate China. We are going to, we call it the regional China, and also we are working very hard to go further in Asia to India and to Southeast Asia. And the way that we are doing that is promotions. In the case of the regional China, we are investing in promotions in more than 24 cities in the regional China, in the interior of China. And in the case of the rest of Asia, we are doing promotions in India, as I said, in Korea, in Japan, in Thailand, in Vietnam, and starting to doing things in Indonesia. And we hope to start in the coming years in the Philippines. We are going to have a new free trade agreement with them, the CEPA, a new CEPA with them I hope in the coming weeks. So we are working. Thank you. We are working very hard on those things. As I said, in the regional China with more than 24 cities, and in several countries in Asia to grow our market there.
Mr. Marambio, it's really a strong insight you have just shared, and your balance between China's opportunity and diversification shows really a strategic maturity. Congratulations on this. And when we are talking about a diversification strengthens market, but inclusivity also strengthens community. Let's talk about small producers and women who are working who are there playing a vital role in Chile's fruit industry. How is Frutas de Chile especially supporting these stakeholders through targeted programs to ensure inclusive growth, equitable opportunities, and the continued vitality of rural communities? Could you provide an example of a successful initiative and this measurable impact?
Yeah, I will like to separate the two concepts. One is the small and medium-sized companies, and the other are women. In the case of our industry, the fruit industry in Chile, is based on small and medium-sized companies. If I have to think in for example, if I have to think in growers, in farmers, our average of farms, or size farm, the sizing of the farms in an average way to measure, it is no more than 20 hectares per farmer. So they are a small piece of land. That is one thing. And the other thing, if we think in exporters, not growers, exporters, or grower exporters, we have more than 800. If you think just, I know that sometimes it's a little bit, it is a little bit stressful to talk about competitors, but it is a very good way to measure us. If you think in New Zealand, and you think in the kiwi industry, how many players do you have in kiwifruit in New Zealand? Just one, Sespri. In the case of Chile, we have 800. 800 is completely. How many exporters do you have of fruit in Peru? No more than 30.
Yeah.
In the case of Chile, we are plenty, because as I said in the beginning, our bond with the land is completely different. It is very deep. So our base is on small and medium-sized companies. We are working with them in all of the things. If you think in one example of the way that we work with the small and medium-sized company is the shows. If you think in the way that, for example, have you been in our booth in a show? If you
Every
see the
time I visit there.
if you see the layout
Yes.
of our booth is just with tables in order to do businesses there, to get together with the stakeholders. This is that layout is thought in our small and medium sized companies, because the biggest players they have their own offices or their own suites in the hotels, but the small and the medium, they are all doing businesses there. So that is, we are focused on them. And the other thing is about women. Half of the industry in Chile, the fruit industry in Chile, is made by women at the farming level, at the packing houses level. So we have a lot of training to them. And in fact, we have an annual award to the women of our industry, which is called Wakolda. Wakolda is an old name for an old Indian character in our history, in the Chilean history.
Can you spell out this for me, please? Can you spell out this for me?
Yes, it is G U A C O L D A. Wakolda. G U A C O L D A. So every year we are giving this award to the most relevant women in our industry, and it is the award more or less 10 per year. We are choosing 10. Okay, our stakeholders are naming several women in order to get the award, and a jury select 10. And this is an annual event with the president of Chile going to give the award. So it is very important. We care a lot about our women. In our trade association, we are more than 70 people here in our office, and more than 60% are women. And not just in operational levels as managers. So we care about women. Women are a big part of our industry in all the levels, from the farming to the leadership of the companies.
Thank you, Mr. Marambio. Your example of especially this award shows the inclusivity highlights the human side of trade, which is often overlooked. So, in this inclusivity anchors the present, but vision defines the future. Let's close with your outlook for the next decade. Looking ahead, what is your vision for the next decade of Chile's fruit trade with Asia and India? What are the top 2 or 3 concrete goals, and which corresponding strategic priorities, innovation, or partnership will be most critical to achieving them to ensure mutual benefit for all stakeholders?
I will say that our biggest goals are, first of all, is to have the best quality fruit in the world. We need to do that for all of the species, for all the varieties, for all the markets. That is we need to stand out in order to compete in this world with the best quality. That is one thing. The other thing is that we need this third axis, India. India, India should be a part of our three biggest markets in the coming future, and we are working on that. And third, we need to. This is a very particular thing in order to grow in Chile. We need to irrigate the desert.
Oh,
In the same way that Peru did, in a very successful way. We need more infrastructure in water. We need to take our desalination to another level with the agriculture industry participating on it. And we need to put all of this together, the quality, the new markets like India, and the use of the water in one concept. And that concept is sustainability under the Chile brand. That is the way that I see the next decade, with the consumer seeing that difference in the origin. So, you know that the one thing that I'm very proud is about the Chilean wine, because when the consumer is buying a Chilean bottle of wine, he or she is taking the country to their table. We don't have yet that awareness in the fruit industry. The consumer is not buying a country, but we need to go there, and that is our goal, and that is the main thing that we are thinking about the future.
I would say remarkable, splendid. So your vision leaves us with hope and inspiration for the future of Chile, Asia, India trade. Yes, as you mentioned, for the wines, Chilean wine. For the walnuts also, it's come as a Chilean walnut. Yes, we have to work hard to get Chilean cherry, Chilean apple on the table.
Exactly.
And you know, the connection which we were talking, in India, we have Diwali celebration where we exchange gifts. Here now, the trend has started to give sweets or not some healthy fruit like pistachios are there. This dry fruits which comes from Chile, it get flood the market during that time from August onwards. So people start. So yes, wish you all the best for this. So to next time when we say, okay, have you tried the Chilean apple on the table? So looking forward to that. Mr. Marambio, before we end, I have let's do a quick rapid fire. Short answers, spontaneous and fun. Are you ready for that?
I am.
Okay. One fruit that best represents Chile's spirit.
Cherries.
Wonderful choice. That fruit truly symbolizes Chile's spirit. India in one word from a trade perspective.
Huge market.
Powerful word. Thank you. Your favorite Chilean fruit to gift a guest.
A mix of different fruits.
Beautiful. One country in Asia you see as the next big growth story.
India.
Excellent foresight. That's a market to watch. Last, if fruit were diplomacy, what would cherries symbolize?
Friendship.
Wow, it's quite poetic and close to everybody's heart. So, Mr. Marambio, thank you very much for sharing these insights with us today. And this we are carrying in the special edition of Fruit Attraction of the Blue Moon. And this conversation has been both strategic and ceremonial, reminding us that fruit is not only commerce but culture, diplomacy, and a vision for sustainable growth. From cherries to apple, from India to Asia, Chile continues to shape the future of global. Friends, this has been the Blue Moon's Fresh Fruit series. I'm Julia Gangwani, and we look forward to continuing these dialogues that connect nations through the language of fruit. Thank you, Mr. Marambio, for your valuable time to us.
Thank you, Julia.